Welcome back, everybody, to another episode with Anything Goes with Anna Rose. I have the most powerful, brilliant, talented, incredible, kind woman on the podcast today that I teased in stories, which will make no sense if you're listening to this episode because someone has shared it with you, or you are new to the podcast, or you did not catch the stories in a 24-hour cycle. But I have the incredible Natalie on today, who I am going to give the setup of this story. And I know we've been chatting in the dream house earlier. But I, quote unquote, met online Natalie. Such an Aussie thing to do. Giving you a nickname.
You can call me Nat. We're
Giving you a
friends.
nickname already. I love it. But I had connected with her about 2 weeks ago. Literally only about 2 weeks ago. I had bought the Freedom Summit by Hudson, who we both have followed for many years.
Yeah, I love Adam.
Yeah. But Natalie was a speaker on there, and this is probably like the third time you've heard this story because we have been talking off mic. But it is rare, and for followers and friends and family that know me, they know that it takes a lot to not just impress me, but move me and make me stop and really pursue a connection or whatever with a woman. Like, my inner circle's tight, my business circle's even smaller. And Natalie was talking, and I stopped the recording because firstly I wanted Ryan to watch it with me, and I found you on Instagram straight away. There was many brilliant and incredible and talented and successful people on that summit. Not one did I go follow other than you. And I immediately went and found this woman and sent her a DM straight away. And now she's literally in the studio 2 weeks later, which is weird in hindsight, even talking about that story again on the mic. But I have brought her in, and I've brought you in because I really do just think you are such a power. You have such an incredible energy, and you are dominating the Dubai market right now, and you will continue. I see so much greatness in you. I just think you will be the name that everyone will know in months and years to come, there and internationally. But I fell in love with just the vision and the mission that you're on and what you're doing to basically free people from, I mean, I know Adam calls it, and I definitely call it the Matrix in essence. And tell us, I want to start at the beginning because I didn't get that on the call with Adam. And you touched on a beautiful story about your dad and the promise that, you'd made to him. So I kind of want to go there first, and then we will go like neck deep into business.
Yeah.
But tell us a little bit about yourself, Natalie.
Well, thank you so much. And I'm humbled and honored to be in this beautiful space and share space with you. So thank you for connecting. And I think synchronicity and alignment is so important.
Yeah.
And I'm huge on women, empowering women.
Yeah.
So it is amazing to see what you've created and what you're doing as well in your business. So amazing to be here. So to start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Well,
Take us back.
I'm a Kiwi, so it's great because we're brother and sister, right?
Yeah.
Australia and New Zealand. So there's a natural affinity there, which is awesome. So I was a pastor for 10 years. So I was really passionate about helping people really find purpose and hope in their lives. So I was working with a lot of at-risk youth. I saw addiction, abuse, heavy trauma, and was living like a monk. I really gave up everything materialistic. I was completely broke. I had nothing, but I was living completely in my why and my purpose. And I was really grateful for that time because the church is a great incubator and training ground. I was, in my 20s, here I am preaching and helping people, and I found my why, and that was to serve people, and I was just in full service, and you got to do what lights you up, and I loved that. But then I did have this whole entrepreneurial side to me. I also went through a lot of trauma, so I was very blessed to be brought up in a beautiful Christian home. Mum, beautiful nurturer. Dad, amazing entrepreneur, but it was feast to famine. So my dad was like the first one to bring Canadian homes, import them, from Canada. He went through so many ups and downs in business, but he always imparted in me this spirit of you can do anything you put your mind to. And he just really encouraged me, and he was an amazing visionary. And so I was so grateful that I had that. But what ended up happening is, I all these amazing values, but he actually ended up having an affair with my mum's best friend in church, and that shattered and broke my family. And then a year and a half later, he went to be with this woman. And so our worlds were just completely shattered. And then I get this call. And he had collapsed, and it was the hospital. And they were asking me to come to the hospital. And then the doctor proceeds to tell me that my dad had cancer through every major organ and bone in his body. And that was a life-defining moment for me, because I had not seen my dad after him being my hero and my best friend. It's like he had died, you know, when everything happened. And he was on his own journey and all the rest of it. But then I forgave him, and the power of forgiveness. And I had just such a special time, because I got to be his main caregiver for 6 months. And that was so beautiful. But then he died, and I watched him die. And that was crazy, because death is so final. And there was this piece of me missing, and there was a whole lot of support. But then after the funeral, everyone goes back to their normal lives, and you've got this huge piece of your life. And for the first time, I experienced depression. And I actually had to go get help. And I realized that you are not weak, but you're strong when you're vulnerable. And through that process of being in a dark pit and not wanting to really think about how I could end my pain and my grief, because I didn't want to do life without my dad, I then had to learn how to rewire neuroplasticity, all the Tony Robbins coaching, how to reframe my story, and be grateful for the 19 years that I had a great family, the 19 years that I did have a great dad. And then I came out with this passion and hunger to really serve people that were going through depression and give them purpose and hope. And so I was managing the hip hop champions at the time.
Stop.
Yeah, so they've won. Now they're in Tokyo, China,
Guys.
all around the world. Yeah, so I've traveled with them and seen them grow. They're called Identity Dance Company, from 8 to 80 dancers, worked with, Paris Goebel and the people that pioneered hip-hop in New Zealand, and done lots of amazing stuff like that. And so through my journey, we worked with Ministry of Health. I got funding, and we created Undefeated and Unstoppable in these tours, and we actually toured the country, 50 high schools, 50,000 young people. And it was just a beautiful opportunity, with young people coming up, slits on their wrist, saying, you inspired me to find hope. You inspired me to find my why. And I just loved that season of my life. And then it just wasn't sustainable, because I realized I needed to create my own financial foundation. So that's what really accelerated me. And I went and actually built my own PR marketing agency, did Fashion Week, Auckland Arts Festival, 320 events in 19 days, did all of the amazing stuff I wanted to do. And then COVID hit. And within 24 hours, my first 7-figure business, the first thing to go was the PR and the marketing budget, and it was dead overnight.
Yeah, wow.
And out of that devastation, the silver lining was I became a trained Tony Robbins coach, which was great, because then I wasn't converting people to a faith. It was just genuinely helping people and serving people, and that really changed my life. And then I had people come to me and go, Nat, have you thought about real estate? And I went and joined the top team. And within 3 months, I'd signed the biggest development in New Zealand, a $350 million listing. Everyone told me I couldn't do it. I had an amazing female mentor that's a real powerhouse. And I was teamed up with an ex-All Black. And it was the Chinese and foreign investors. And then I fell in love with Off the Plans, because it's a superior product. That's where I went, brand new, love it, wealth creation through property, foreign investors, and all my PR and marketing, all my coaching, everything I had done had set me up for that. And the light bulb moment and all that inner work that I had done, I could see opportunities no one saw. So that was my pivot into real estate.
Oh, guys, where do I go? Where do I go? That is the, I'm like, no, I want to stay with the dad. No, now I want to stay with the youth. No, let's go to the pastor. But I think for me with that, the greatest thing I want to know, so there's a lot in that, obviously grief, loss, hardship, COVID, loss again. What the hell is inside of you? What's that voice, and where does it come from, and how do you cultivate that? That in all of that, all of the time. So I always say in always, where's that coming from within you? Like, where's that, like, let's keep going, one foot in front of the other. You've done, that's like 10 lifetimes you've just talked about in
I feel like I've lived a few lifetimes,
2
but,
minutes.
grit and resilience are the most important qualities. Everyone has the most amazing strengths and gifts inside of them. If you can unlock that and realize you're one of one and your unique gifts need to serve the world, but the inner work, the trauma, turning your pain into purpose, like we talk about it, we can talk about it here on this podcast. Look, But when you're in the trench, it's hard. And I should have been a statistic that roped up.
Yeah.
But that hope that I had, the faith that I had, the purpose that I had, finding my why, I just had a relentless ambition, a relentless spirit. I was like, anything that comes my way. And life is a roller coaster.
Yeah, preach.
I'm like, anything that comes my way, I'm going to use to make me stronger. I'm going to get back up, and I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to pivot. And I think being agile as well, you know, like that marketing PR agency was my baby. I thought that was me forever. But look, now I look at what I'm doing now, and I'm like, wow, like that was so small in comparison to what I'm doing now. But yet how I refined and worked on my skills is serving me. So I think the biggest thing I want to say to women is like really, you know, lock yourself away. If you don't, proximity's power, but if you don't have a circle of people, like I didn't really have people to look up to. I didn't have people, actually had a lot of people telling me I couldn't do it. I had a lot of people telling me to sit down, be quiet. Like, why are you dreaming so big? I've always been a square peg in a round hole. You know, New Zealand is beautiful, great food, wine, nature offering, but there's a lot of limiting beliefs. It's very small. There's a lot of tall poppy. I've had that my whole life. I was severely bullied in high school, and then I ended up being head girl, and I got a scholarship. Like, everything, you can turn anything around. And so for me, it's like, find treasure in your trauma. Your trauma is your greatest gift. And then the Tony Robbins stuff was amazing. So it's like Tony talks about how, you know, problems are gifts and how they sculpt our soul. So it's like when you can leverage that, when you can take your pain and do that inner work and really grind, it's like that's your greatest gift, because it's going to give you this level of tenacity and power that when you show up, you know, when you walk into a room, people can feel that frequency and they can feel the substance. You know, there's all these influencers out there now, like, awesome, like, go build your dream. But you can really quickly tell someone that's been through some really hard stuff and come out the other end and has a heart to serve and want to help other people get out of that trench and fly.
Yeah. It's funny because I feel like everyone that's listening that follows, like, Sis has had some trauma over here in this chair, lots of it. And it's interesting for me listening to you share more of your story, and it's still it's deep and it's beautiful and it's powerful, and we are still just skimming the surface, right? But it's like, this makes sense to me now, because when I'm like, yeah, of course I hit stop. It is that frequency. Of course it's frequency. Of course it's energy. But I also sometimes think it is that trauma meets trauma. And it's like, it's not the trauma that's connecting, but it's like you feel real. Let me pose that a different way. Real meets real.
Yeah.
And that's what I think I must definitely felt with you, because you're sitting here now and I'm like, oh my, this makes sense. This makes sense. You said something then, and then we kind of went away from it, but you said, because I know that this is this woman now. She's listening to this, and it is like 95% of my network is women, incredible women. And a lot of them, and then we're going to go into the business, because I know they're hungry to hear this. I know they're hungry to build wealth.
Game-changing.
I'm like, let's talk about it. But there will be some women that aren't there yet that are going to hear this and go, right, that's my goal. I want to be in this room. I want to, you know, be interviewing a woman like, nah, I want to, what we're about to talk about, she's going to get there. She doesn't want to be there. She will get there. But to the woman that's not there yet, you said something. You said, lock yourself away. Can you unpack that a little bit? Because there's going to be two women on this podcast that is listening. She's going to be the woman that's not there quite yet, but she will get there.
Yeah.
And she will be the woman that will be inspired off of what you're about to say, this lock myself away, lock in, lock down, lock on to whatever that vision is. I don't know what you're going to say. And then there will be the women like myself and an inordinate amount of other women that are ready, that are hungry, that are just going to be inspired by the next session we're going to go into, essentially, of business. So for the woman that's going to get to this next part of investment and wealth building but isn't there just yet, what do we say to her? What's this lock-in piece?
So a separation season is really powerful. So really locking in, and, you know, energy flows, you know, where your focus goes. And so it's really important not to get distracted. And social media, amazing business tool, but detrimental to mental health. But also, like, your diet isn't just what you eat. It's like who you surround yourself with, what you're reading, what you're watching, what you're listening to. And, you know, I really had to restructure all of my relationships. There were people that had to go into different layers of my life. I had to stop spending time with people. I outgrew a lot of people. Growth can be really lonely, but embracing the loneliness. I used to be just with people constantly. I now spend a lot more time on my own. And it just really digging deep and reading things that inspire you. Even if there's not someone right now physically in your circle, like I locked myself away and I like dated Tony Robbins and Alex Hormozy.
What a man.
Like
what
I spent nights like, you know, and also scripting your dream life.
Yeah.
Like that's really important, you know, and doing an audio recording. But, you know, we have 75,000 thoughts a day and 91% are a repeat of, you know, like that it's on a loop. And so your reticular activating system, neuroplasticity is very powerful. So really being able to regroove new neural pathways in your brain, your psychology, you know, 80% of success is psychology, 20% is mechanics. So really reading things, fueling your soul, your mind, and really starting to think about the trajectory you're on and just really curating your experience and unsubscribing from the toxic bullshit.
Yeah.
So I restructured my whole life and it was lonely at the beginning, but I started to really accelerate and level up in my personal world. I also, for me, for all those women that have found their king, like how beautiful, for me, it was actually saying no to the wrong guys. And I've been single for 5 years. It was actually breaking, you know, relationships that were toxic and wrong and out of alignment for me. And actually, you know, saying no when people have presented opportunities because I know that they've wanted to own me or they've got other issues or red flags and deciding that I was going to level up on my own. And that's been really, really powerful.
Yeah. Use a baddie. The king is so coming, but he'll be the one that, like, you'll feel it. You'll know.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because I always laugh and say, and, like, again, if you've done self-love school, you will know this. But I always say, like, that one of my programs that I run, self-love school, probably has one of the highest rates of divorce. And I'm proud of that. I'm so proud of that because women find themselves, know themselves, love themselves, back themselves, and realize, like, I was also in the wrong relationship. And we talked about that off mic as well, like very similar paths with that. And we were like, incredible guys, just not our Mr. Incredible anymore.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I love that. Okay, separation season, got it. So if you were listening to this, because we're about to go deep on business, but if you're listening to this and this next part inspires you and you want this because you deserve this and this is something that feels out of reach, lock into what Natalie also just said. Have a season of separation. Go date Tony Robbins and Alex Hormozy. What kings. But I love that. I think that's so beautiful because I often feel on podcasts, even sometimes when I'm listening, it's like, that's so good and well for them, but what about me? But for me, I'm like, this is possible for everybody and it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And it comes down to your habits and what you're going to do off of the back of this episode, who you're going to become, the action that you're going to take, the separation season that you're going to own.
Daily rituals, habits, discipline.
Yeah.
So powerful.
Love. All right, let's talk business.
Yeah, let's talk business because the girls need to know. The girls need this.
The girls need to know. Okay, so I fell in love because Ryan and I are definitely in a season of like looking to Dubai. Now this is very Dubai specific and there's a very good reason for that because, this is where I just want you to run, take the mic and go. But on the Freedom Summit, you were speaking into just like the opportunity, the power of it all, the infrastructure development, the investment the government's making, how they want you to succeed and win. And unfortunately, I will set it up quickly in just saying, unfortunately for me, as still an Australian tax resident and as an Australian woman who lives in Australia and you're a Kiwi sister, unfortunately, now this is not to say, like, it's not to hate on Australia or New Zealand. It's not to hate on anything or anywhere. But when a government decides to essentially disempower you and tax you beyond what is absolutely fair and appropriate to try to keep you on basic welfare, in essence, there's a statistic that pissed me off. This is what led me to start, like, to the Freedom Summit. I read a statistic the other day, and everyone knows this that's following me, that over 51% of Australians, this will shock you, over 51% of Australians now rely on our government for their main source of income. Mm-hmm. So our nation right now is, and again, no shame or shade on that. Like, my mum was on welfare, and I'm so glad because we had food on the table because of it. But also, when a nation is so dependent on their government And the government then just is like, oh, we just, to circumvent that, it's like, we'll just keep taxing the wealthy. The wealthy are going to leave.
100%.
Cut to you leaving New Zealand.
Yeah.
Talk us through it.
There's so much in this, and we don't want to gatekeep, and we actually really want to empower women to create wealth. Now, I haven't come from money, but they gifted me hunger. But you can't pour from an empty cup. And as a woman, you know, creating your own financial independence is so powerful. You can't save your way to wealth, but wealth is power. So, Dubai is game-changing. So I just saw this huge opportunity, and then I founded Wealth Creators to help people create wealth strategically through the best off-the-plan property investments. Now, Dubai is the best place in the world to invest in real estate.
I want to say as well, everything that Natalie's about to say, I'm going to link everything in show notes. So, like, you'll be able to find her, follow her, be with her, work with her, etc. So come into the show notes. If this is like, if you're already like I was, at like press pause and was like, I'm in.
There's a lot in this, and we'll break it down.
Yeah.
And for people that are further interested, they can reach out and we can do an actual strategy call. But basically, what we look for is when the demand outweighs the supply. It's that gap in property that makes you money. So there's a few different target audiences that we're talking to. There's some people that won't want to leave Australia, but you can still invest as a foreign investor, and it's the most like fastest wealth creation accelerated real estate market for you. But we help keep you safe. We help you with the legality and the compliance, and to make it transparent and honest. And we have a huge studio care. We want you to be raving fans. We want to help you. Okay. Now, there's a lot of scams out there. There's a lot of misinformation. And so it's all about being able to empower you with the right information. But what you want to look for is it's the macroeconomic factors that make Dubai so incredible. There's also the second part for people that actually want to now not pay. Like the other day I was talking to some clients, they're paying 80% tax in Australia. One game-changing move, we are now helping them break tax residency in Australia. Property's your fast tracker, and we're helping people invest and then get a golden visa for 10 years and set businesses up, and then it's 0% personal tax, 0% wealth tax, 0% inheritance tax, 9% corporate tax, 0% capital gains tax. That's a game changer right there when you think about how much tax you're paying.
Okay, so I want to break this down, right? So because a lot of people don't even know the tax they're paying. So for me right now, so in the dollar, so I can give a really powerful, beautiful example. And I'm not anti-tax. I'm anti-government. Let's be honest, I am. But it's not that I'm trying to. For me, I'm like it is again mindset and mental. It's not about trying to evade or escape anything. It's about genuine empowerment and education around wealth creation.
Absolutely.
And that's why I love your literal business name is called Wealth Creation.
Yeah, it was
realized.
It's about freedom.
Yeah.
But across Australasia, it actually takes you on average around 15 years to double your money through property.
Yeah.
We have strategically found the best investments that can double your money through capital growth and appreciation because of the economic factors and the government's futuristic innovative vision to double your money in 5 years. Then the rental yield, which is the second part of it, changes the game. On average, 5 to 10%, unique projects 10 to 18%. You're collecting rent. Also, the payment structure, like nowhere else in the world.
I want to go on this because this was unbelievably attractive to me, the payment structure.
So this is the only place in the world I've seen this happen where you can put 20% down as your deposit, and you can literally get started right now for 120,000 Australian. And then there's typically, we go for like a 4-year construction period, okay? So it's like 1% a month or 10% per year. So you're paying 40% over that construction period of principal, no interest.
Say that again.
So you're not
principal, no interest.
You're not spending 30 years paying the bank a ridiculous amount of interest.
And this is what I say to Australians all the time. I am pro property. Like I'm pro wealth. I am pro wealth. I am pro people becoming empowered and building wealth for themselves and becoming free.
Well, knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power. My issue is when people go, oh, well, I own property. I'm like, well, you don't own property. The bank owns your property.
Yeah.
And that's fine, you know, all the things. But if you can genuinely go and build wealth in another country, in essence, be it, as you said, you've got absolute tiers. That's the way I see it. Tier one could be you're an Australian and you do have some equity in your, like you could go and invest in Dubai, which is one of the fastest growing markets in the world right now, just at that level. And you can stay in Australia and still be a tax-paying resident in Australia and raise your babies and live a phenomenal life. Tick. Or more aggressively, or tier 2 or 3 for me, is there comes a time where, so back to the dollar, actually, I was just saying, so in the dollar for Australians that are taxed, so in every dollar, say, or say $10, I earn $10. Straight off the bat, GST 10%, which is fine, right? So GST is 10%. I have to deduct 10% of, so $10 comes off of that 100. Perfect. From there, my company tax is 25%. I'm a company, but if you're an individual with in whatever tax bracket you are, it can be a lot higher than that. 25% is low if I was just an individual, but 25%. And then plus capital gains, plus other taxes, plus, you know.
And the thing that people need to realise is the government is just overnight changing legality to figure out more ways to tax you.
Well, I don't know if you know this yet, but in Australia, there's a proposed, so in Victoria, there's a new, and Victoria is the breeding ground in Australia. So they test things in Victoria essentially. But in Victoria right now, and there was a few catalysts for me to just like really lock in on you, really lock in on Dubai. But in Victoria right now, they're calling it a new, I think it's like super luxury house tax. And so on a sale on a property in Australia, capital gains tax, it triggers a capital gains tax event, right? We know that. Now they're saying, and again, it's proposed, so it's not yet legislated, but it's coming, that after that capital gains tax, so you've already paid tax on that, you're then already paying tax regardless because that income becomes a part of your that profit becomes a part of your income. Yeah. They're now saying after all of that, they are then going to tax you again because it's a major gain. So this is that's the capital gains tax though. I'm like, that is the point of a capital gains tax.
Well, now they're also taxing trusts. They're bringing in a whole lot of stuff. And, you know, like these entrepreneurs have spent their whole life building these businesses.
Yeah, 12 years.
Like 80% tax they were paying.
Yep.
80%. Like, that's crazy. So smart entrepreneurs are now not saying, how can I serve my country? They're saying, how does my country serve me?
And I will say, 100%. And I will say it's gotten to the point now for me when I read that statistic that I was like, I literally kill myself, like bust my balls and powerfully. Like I own that. I love that. I love I hustle. I love I build wealth. I love that I am able to employ people. I love all of that. But what I don't love is that the government is then like, okay, well, we're just going to continue to tax you and hurt you and not help you grow and not foster like your innovation, not foster your education, not foster anything. We're just going to hurt you and give that to everyone else and ourselves, essentially. There's for sure, anyway, I won't get into the, I'm like, there's for sure laundering in the freaking government. And then you hurt. You cannot build, in my opinion, this is only opinion, but I just feel like at this point in Australia, unfortunately, and it hurts me to say it, but there's just not an opportunity to build true wealth.
Well, it's really hard for people to even get on the property ladder now.
Yeah.
And so it's actually crazy because also the construction costs and labour and everything in Australia. So in Dubai, there's so many layers to this. It's also the uniqueness of what you can actually buy, like the actual inventory with all the amenities is so insane. So now I'm selling one of 2 natural islands in the UAE. I
think that's what we want, Natalie.
Yeah.
I think that's the one we want.
So it's an island.
Yeah.
Now, most developers, because of the construction costs, they will put, you know, like the largest units, kind of mid-high floor in the middle with like a marina view, right? Everyone wants the pool, water view. You can actually buy 1 bedrooms. They're putting the 1 bedroom. So you can now buy in 650,000. You know, that's unheard of anywhere else. And then the payment structure, the fact that you're putting your 20% down, you're paying your 40% construction over 4 years. Now, you can actually on-sell it. You also can't do that across Australasia with a lot of developers with the legality of the clauses in the contract. You can actually sell it and cash in if you want. That's crazy before having to pay the remaining 40% on completion. Now, you can choose to go to a bank and there's an interest component on that remaining 40%, or a lot of people are just injecting money and then they're collecting the rental yield. Now, there's also post-handover payment plans where you're collecting the rent to pay the principal to the developer. So there's just so many layers, but also it's the opportunities. It's being around like-minded people, entrepreneurs, people that are hungry to grow and collaborate. Like just being in the jet stream and the overflow of their government, you're winning. Yeah. And just the position in the world as a global hub, it just blows Australasia so far out of the water. The light bulb starts to come on. You spend 30 minutes with me online, the lights start coming on. People that have been so patriotic are going, we need to move. Maybe we need to think about restructuring our life.
That was us. Yeah.
And so it's just so exciting because it's going to just put so many Kiwis and Australians on a new trajectory with their businesses. Also, the size of the market. Like it actually has the scope and the size to build something on a global level. I now have magazine covers coming to me from Dubai and the US, all around the world, asking me.
And you deserve it.
Asking me to tell my story. And you know what? You got to be ballsy. Yeah. And it hasn't been easy. Oh, it's been challenging. I solve hard problems every day, but we love that.
Yeah.
That's all part of the journey.
Part of it. That's 100% part of
it.
it.
But people need to definitely invest and really think about relocating and setting up business in Dubai, because just a one-way ticket is going to change your net worth forever.
Yeah. And that's where we're at. And I want to say as well to people that are listening that this feels, because this, like for us, this is a normal conversation. This is like expansive and fun. And I'm like, of course. Like, of course we'll go buy a villa in Dubai. Like, but of course.
And the natural island.
On a natural island.
And we're going to the Wing Casino.
Of course. However, for others, and I so get this and I so understand, and we did say this up in the dream house as well. We were like, you know, you were sharing how you were like, I've been a pastor, I've done that, which shocked me, by the way. I still want to go there.
It's a great party trick when I tell people. People tell me I'm lying.
I still feel like I need to unpack that. But you said, you were like, I've been broke and that made me hungry.
I've been a broke bitch.
Yeah, same.
But it's been, you know what, that's really served me. I think because it gave me real hunger. But also I have such a passion to help other people create wealth because I know how powerful it is, and also how many more people you can help. I had this conversation with someone earlier this week, and they could not fathom the humble beginning pastor, no money, to the luxury of Dubai. And I was like, I have a much larger reach and opportunity now to empower and help people than I ever did in the four walls of a church.
Well, I always say you cannot, and everyone knows this that listens, but like you cannot help the sick being sick, and you cannot help the poor being poor. So go be well and go be wealthy.
Yeah, because you should be giving out the overflow. You can't pour from an empty. Wealthy. Yeah. But also now it's like women are rising and owning their power.
Yeah.
And, you know, really like using their gifts. And it's just the most beautiful thing when, you know, men and women, like I think there's such a powerful thing around masculine energy and femininity. I think you totally, you know, need both. But I think if women can really like create financial freedom in their life, it's going to accelerate you. And also it's about being able to be somewhere that's going to stretch and grow you and take you to another level.
And this is where I want it. So this is it, this piece, that what you just said then. This would feel scary for so many people listening.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
100%.
So they might have the capital as well. They might have the curiosity, I would say, maybe not the hunger, but the curiosity and the capital. Let's say that. Curiosity and capital. But I don't know if I could assume in New Zealand it would have very much been the same. But definitely here in Australia, like this is your pond. And you do not leave your pond, and you do not become a fish that is too big for that pond, and it's far too risky looking overseas. Like that's just so beyond comprehension.
Yeah.
And here we are beautifully. This is what excites me, like having this conversation, because this was only literally. H kept saying it to me, and that felt too big. So my accountant, my brilliant accountant, but he's a different level of wealth again. So when he was saying it, I was like, yeah, but. I don't know. I'm not sure. And that, you know, but. And then little by little, and I know people that are listening to this are feeling this at the moment as well, because even just sharing those few stories before you arrived about you and how this connection came to be and the conversation we're about to have, my inbox has exploded. Yeah. And women are like, holy shit, this is like, I get this episode in my ears because I'm so interested, but it's definitely not something that I've never sat and had a conversation with an incredibly powerful, brilliant woman to say, I'm in Dubai, I'm aggressively investing, I am growing my wealth exponentially, and I'm safe to do so.
Yeah, and that's where what we offer is so superior and elite.
Yes.
Because I coach you through it and I educate you through all those economic factors. So the population doubling by 2040, the economic agenda, the D33, the 100 transformational projects that the government are committed to, the 100 billion they've already invested, the extra 50 billion that's coming for infrastructure upgrades and transportation upgrades for it to be the most the connectivity to be the best in the world.
Because they want that. What did you say on the call? Dubai government wants Dubai to be
the most livable city by 2040.
Yeah, and they'll do it.
And it's super safe, but it's about all of those economic factors. So it's the tourism, it's the employment opportunities, it's the doubling population, but they are doubling their economy by 2033.
Yeah. So what are we, 8 years.
How crazy is that?
8 years.
It's also the busiest airport in the world, right?
Yeah.
So 93 million people last year. So it's just insane. But it's the gentrification with property. There's a lot in it. So I actually coach you through and I handhold you and I talk with you around this. And we also talk about how the government is so involved and the regulation of the actual real estate industry more than in Australia, the amount of legality and compliance, and also the extra steps that wealth creators have put in place to protect our investors.
Yeah. Let's talk about that because I remember I did unpack it before. I was like, Ryan woke up. So Ryan works very hard. He works here, obviously, and then he's got his job. And he woke up from his nap on a Sunday and I was like, I've just watched this thing. Oh my God. And I was unpacking a bit and he was like, baby, this sounds amazing. Let's watch it. I'll sit with you. Let's do it. But the very first thing he said was, ooh, off the plan is risky.
Yeah.
Because in Australia, it can be. And I was like, no, you don't understand in Dubai. And then I'll get you to explain this. But you fully went into on the call the different legality or the legal in Dubai is so different with off the plan.
So different.
And this was very attractive to me.
Yeah. And the thing is, in Australia, it's risky because developers are going under. They're not well funded and you know. So that's why it is risky, but we de-risk that whole process for you. But also there's nowhere else where the government actually regulate the whole real estate industry. There's not just your REA or your real estate regulatory body, the government, because they want to make it the best place in the world. So there's also what's called an escrow account. So like in Australia, when you pay a deposit, it would go into the developer's solicitor's trust account as a ring fence, right?
Yeah.
To protect your money until the developer has fulfilled their legal obligations.
Yeah.
So that money is protected, okay, with normally what's called like a sunset clause if it's not delivered by a certain date. Now in Dubai, the developer has to they have to report to the government. And there's actually a platform with Dubai Land Department where every transaction, so there's no duplication, but there's also transparency across the whole sector where you have to register every transaction and there's construction updates that you get. So the escrow account is also governed where the deposit goes into is an independent financial account governed by an independent financial advisor that works for the government.
Yeah. This is it for me, guys.
Extra layers of protection and even across Australasia.
Yeah, when I heard, so I was saying to Ryan, because I'm Gold Coast, so there's lots of cranes in the air, which is really powerful because it's always great for construction, which means a growing, I won't say booming, but definitely growing economy. And I was like, but it's so funny because as I'm saying that, literally the 17 voices in my head are like, yeah, but the opportunity is still not there because of all the taxes and the government. So put that aside though. But however, in Australia, the risk is so high. There are so many articles around buying off the plan, etc.
Yeah.
But I am an off the plan girl. I want you.
It's superior though.
And this is
also
what I
for
was
wealth
saying.
creation.
When you said it on the call, I was like, that's it. You cannot get better than that. You cannot get, even though I'm, anti-government, I also want to make sure that my money is protected, right? And if the government,
100%.
if daddy government is going to sit there and manage that escrow, beautiful, because I know then in Dubai, my property will get delivered on.
Yeah, and also people need to understand that brand new actually commands a higher sell price. It rents for a higher rental price, rental yield. Also, all your ventilation, insulation, heating, everything is brand new. It's less maintenance.
No mold.
It's just superior for wealth creation. But you do want to make sure that, it's really great that they're so intense around all of that. Also, you've got your 10-year structural build guarantee in your sale and purchase agreement. You also have your 1 year defect period, and 5% is actually held back in the escrow account. So you actually get to do a pre-settlement inspection, and we can help you actually, get someone independent to do that, to make sure everything is perfect in line with the sale and purchase agreement. One spot of paint is not perfect. They legally are obliged. They have to come fix it. Now, I also do a huge amount of due diligence and acquisition my side. They don't really do exclusive in Dubai. Our portfolio, we advertise, is around $50 billion worth of the highest return on investment, luxury, inventory in the world. It's actually closer to 100 billion.
That's crazy.
When we went out, people were like, what? They couldn't even fathom that. No. And it's like, but the thing is that I actually have new developers. We could go exclusive. We could be doing all the stuff. But I refuse to do it because I am not going to put an investor in a situation with a developer that does not have a strong track record and is a well-oiled machine with systems and processes to complete a high craftsmanship, high-quality product on time. So I'm working with billionaire developers that have been around for decades and produce thousands and millions of high-quality homes. Like Amar, they built the Burj Khalifa.
Yeah, wow.
You go to Dubai, there's Amar in every building.
Yeah, wow.
Like Amar, like this, I'm in the billionaire boardroom developers. And so that is really important. And also making sure that you have an independent UAE specialist lawyer to screen all of the contracts.
And that obviously is something that we
Wealth put created. In place.
Yeah, beautiful.
So we have extra steps in place and we walk you through that.
Yeah.
There's brokers over there that are getting people to sign things without even looking at the sale and purchase agreement. That is such a lack of care. Also, I will put in front of you, I always do the right thing by my investors. So you come to me, I'm going to find you the best, highest return, exactly what you want, right? Now, I'm analysing thousands of deals to be able to bring you the best offer. Now, that's actually not the one that I'm getting paid the most commission for.
And I want to stay there for a second because this you said this on the call as well, sorry, but you actually said as well, you said, how I get paid is off the developers. Yeah. And I loved that. I was like, see, but you just said that, and you said that before I said this. So and that's really important again, and this is why I wanted to touch on it as you said it, that you're not exclusive. Like, it's like, well, I'm not going to just be promised to you. I'm not going to just sell all my clients to you because you can't guarantee me safe. That's the behind the door conversation. You haven't been around for decades. You aren't whatever, your own due diligence. But then I love that as well. You're like, just because it's like, but I like this. I love that transparency, that it's like the money essentially, I love money. Like the money in Dubai with real estate is that developers pay you obviously to put brilliant people in their properties.
Yeah.
But for you, you're like, I'm not going for I'm going to go for, you want raving fans.
Raving fans, yeah. And also for me, this is also bigger than just money. Like, of course, a business has to be win-win, right? You've got to make some money and go after an abundant mindset, but it's about service. And I want people to have an amazing experience, and then I want them to go and tell all their friends and family so that they can create wealth and freedom in their lives as well. So it's really important. And most people actually would charge education course fee for the value that I already give you. It's free for you to engage. Obviously, we qualify you. You have to be, I'm never going to put an investor in a position and into contract if you don't have the income to pay the payments.
Yeah. Beautiful.
So we're going to help you, through all of that. But at the same time, I'm going to do the right thing by you. And so there's just a whole... No one else is going to do that. The brokers are there. I hate commission breath. I don't like the money hungry energy. I love the big thinking, abundant energy. But that's why I think so many people are just so attracted and coming through like crazy, because they can feel that it's genuine. And, when you get on a call and we go through everything with you, by the end of it, you're just like, it's a no-brainer. And it's de-risked, and you can see for yourself. And we give you the information to empower you to make an intellectual, informed decision.
Yeah, and this was that was my experience with you. That was like literally my experience with you. And I was connected to you, as I said, via Adam on his own Freedom Summit. And what was really powerful about that entire summit was like him obviously putting you on it, number one.
Which was so cool, right? Because Adam, I've followed Adam for a really long time. I did the Reliable Education course. Yes. But he's one of my favourite entrepreneurs in Australia, and Unemployable Media, like they are creating a freedom movement. And I love that they are bringing, like, the education and what they're doing and around getting people to understand what's happening with the government in Australia is just such a game changer.
But this is what I wanted to say, right? Yes. So Adam, same. I've followed him for several years. But what shocked me, and I was literally looking, I wasn't, because I always assume positive intent. Always, right? That's my DMO. But as I was watching this webinar, and by the way, the webinar cost $500 Australian to be on. He donated 100% of that to the John Fawcett Foundation.
Which I love.
$300,000 this man raised, and he donated 100% of it to the John Fawcett Foundation. So
which helps restore sight to blind people in Indonesia.
So he didn't.
So
it wasn't.
beautiful.
So first of all, that happened, and then I was like, I know Adam. I don't know Adam, but like I've followed him forever.
Yeah, he's a good person.
So I was like
actually,
holy
genuinely.
shit. Like, and then I'm on the webinar and he's literally giving you his playbook because he's about to invest with you. He's bringing like his whole squad to you.
They are coming and they're bringing all their...
He's bringing all the big boys with all the big money.
Yeah, and we're collaborating. I've just spent time with Eric and his beautiful wife, and it's actually really beautiful too when you see men that are so secure and they really want to empower women in doing their business, and like it's just been such a beautiful alignment, you know. And I think when you find good people in business, it's just like it's just so refreshing, because I tell you what, there's a lot of corrupt people out there.
There's bad eggs. But I was on that webinar and I'm like, not where's the catch? I was like, what was I looking for? And it was almost like, where's the catch? Like what? So you've just donated.
Because it feels too good to be true. It does.
I was like, and I'm on
I
the webinar.
felt like that too when I was in Dubai. I'm like, okay, where's
the catch?
And I'm looking for all the, fish hooks, and I'm analyzing everything to protect our investors. And you know what? It does feel too, but there's a window of time and opportunity, right?
No, but that's what so Adam did this webinar, donates money, so it wasn't even for him. So he didn't even earn $1 off it. Then I'm on it and he's brought all of the people he invests with, and he's a very wealthy, brilliant, incredible man.
Yeah, he's so smart.
Had you on there. And then I was like, and then you're fully educating us with an incredible slide deck on like, it's just irrefutable. I was like, I'm in, just sign me up.
Where do I sign?
Where do I sign? This is crazy. But I literally was like, wow. The connection to you was like, no, he's literally just trying to get people out of the matrix.
Yeah.
They are just genuinely trying to, they've got the money. They're out of the matrix. Adam's in Cyprus. He's about to invest in Dubai.
And they're crazy successful. Like, they don't need to be doing this.
So this is what I mean. So even to be connected with you, like I was like, wow, that never would have happened if someone like other than Adam, who's incredibly wealthy, had put you on. Maybe, hopefully I would have found you along the way. But I'm like, the fact even that you're here talking to everyone on this podcast and it will continue to grow and expand, it's like, you don't need to do this. Like, it's like there was no catch. And I was like, wow, this is just a group of individuals right now, Unemployable Media at the time, or Adam really at the time, it was Adam, and then Unemployable Media as kind of the umbrella. But I'm like, they just genuinely want us to be free.
Yeah.
And then you are a woman within that is a woman that offers that freedom.
Yeah.
And that's what I love.
It's been like a perfect alignment. But when you really ask yourself, what else doubles your money in a 5-year period, let alone if you want to stay in the deal and it's going to continue to gain capital appreciation and you're collecting rent. But like, tell me, think about all the skills you need. You have to be a rare breed and all the money. And if you're going to double your money even in a business in 5 years, like not many people do.
No,
you
not
think
in business
about
now.
reno. Oh, what a nightmare. Like I'm terrible. Like I can't do that. And most people across Australasia do not double their money through property in 5 years, even if they're renovating.
And not now with tax anyway. But
the fact that you can like come through, work with us, we try to streamline it, and then, they build it and your money works for you.
I think as well what's really powerful about the opportunity with you and what drew me and then Ryan was that we do want to become tax residents. So let's go here.
Yeah.
We want to become tax residents of Dubai. And so although you also, like, it's such a phenomenal, like, I was going to say, what did we just say? Where's the catch? There is no catch kind of investment opportunity. Also, what that awards you is because of the purchase property, and we can talk about that, the golden visa and stuff, because that was extremely invaluable to me to learn all that how I can streamline essentially residency into Dubai legally, powerfully, in a safe way, in essence, with property. Because then to speak into that as well, what we're saying, obviously so in Australia you double your money, which you can't do with property. If you could though, which you can't, You cannot. If you could, then you sell it. You're taxed you're tax.
Yeah, capital gain.
Yeah. Individual tax, capital gain tax, and now potentially the proposal of a luxury profit tax is what they're saying. That's what they're calling it. In Dubai, you double your money. And this is why we want to become tax residents for however long. In Dubai, we invest, we own a property. Say we want to sell because you may want to and then go bigger, go better, whatever, diversify. There is no capital gains tax. Right? Because we're then a resident. You're a resident because you own a property.
What the crazy thing is that even if you invest and you're an Australian resident, the UAE don't impose a capital gains tax on it. But the ATO, the Australian Tax Office, will, if you are a resident of Australia, they come after your global income.
Wealth.
So you have to break tax residency, which means you've got to be in the UAE 6 months.
Yeah, which is what we want.
Out of 12, and then you've got to make sure you're not in Australia for over 6 months. So the fast track in is property. Now the game changing thing here is the golden visa. Now you used to have to own 2 million AED outright, which is equivalent to around 840,000 Australian to get the 10-year golden visa. Now the game changing thing here is they've lowered the barrier.
Yeah.
Now you just have to put 20% down on the value of a 2 million AED property. You just have to take the legal paperwork and then you can apply for your golden visa. We also have a white glove premium service where we're actually helping people do the whole thing, like all the immigration side of it.
Yeah, wow.
And also set up businesses, which is just a game changer. But you want to break tax residency. You want to become a UAE tax resident. And then it's just changing the game for you.
Yeah.
And then you're making so much more money, but you're getting to keep it.
You get to keep it and reinvest it. Yeah.
Amazing.
That's the game. Okay, so because I just checked and I was like, we've been talking like half an hour. We are almost at an hour.
Yeah, we're fast.
We'll have to like stream in.
There's so much in it, but I hope that it's inspired people.
But are you kidding? Everyone will be like, where do I find it? But I want to say, so say someone is listening, they're which me, right? Because this was me 2 weeks ago, completely inspired. They'll come and find you. They can come and find you. You can book a call with Natalie, of course. You can. And I would highly encourage it and recommend it. But I also want people to be like, wait, I don't even know if I'm eligible, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about that quickly. We've got about 10 minutes. I want to talk about eligibility.
So you need 120K already of savings to go, right?
Beautiful.
For your deposit. You need to make sure that you're going to have a few $100,000 over the next few years to pay 40% of that property value for construction. So you need to make sure that you've either got savings or you've got income coming in.
Yeah, in Australia.
We will look at a completion date of, let's say, like 2029, right? So you've got the 4 years to pay the 1% a month or the 10% per year.
Yeah.
Now, the remaining 40% you can mortgage or you can save.
Right. I wanted to talk to you about that because you said that. So so 120,000 is the buying, essentially, Australian.
And we're talking a 1-bedroom on an island with the new Wynn Al Marjan Island, Vegas, like Wynn on Las Vegas coming to the UAE, the only gaming commercial license. So imagine the tourism, like it is going to pop off.
I saw the photos. It's unbelievable. There's like
it's
on the ocean and it's on the ocean. There was beach,
the Arabian
marina.
Gulf, you've got a nightclub, you've got luxury boat tours, you've got the retail, restaurants, fitness centre, helipads. Yeah. Game changer.
I said to Ryan today, I was like, baby, we're going to move. This is me. And he was like, okay. And I said, and then we're going to have a helipad. I was like, and we'll just helicopter to work. And he was like, okay, baby, speak it into being.
I love it.
So $120,000 buying, then they have to have, then that's a new property off the plan. Amazing. And we've talked about all that. We know the safety in that. Obviously, again, you can chat with Natalie in more depth. But tick, tick, tick. Then they'll be paying that off, but it's full principal, no interest, because obviously it is cash as well, right? You are literally very powerfully paying off 1% per month off of your property.
That's right.
At the end, construction is complete, there will be about, or bang on, 40% left.
Yes.
Then you said this on the call, they can get a loan. Yeah. And someone asked, and I'm so glad they did. They were like, is that in Australia or can you do that internationally?
No, you have to do it in the UAE. So we connect you with our mortgage broker financial advisor service. And you go through and you talk about your serviceability and all of that, and they get you the game-changing interest rate, which is lower too.
Yeah.
But look, there's a few different options. You also can sell if you want to cash in without even having to go and pay the remaining 40%.
Yeah.
So you can actually sell it, make the money, double it in approximately that 5-year period, and you've only paid the 60%.
Yeah.
No interest, no bank. Because the banks are also really trying to own you.
And no capital gains. Like, this is what I want people to understand. If you're a tax resident of Dubai. That's super important to distinguish, actually, and that's why we're moving. Because say we wanted to do that, and then we do that, which we don't know, but like say we flipped it in essence. Quote, that's right. This
then if you're an Australian resident, then the ATO are going to tax you on that capital gain.
Yeah. And if at that point, which I fundamentally believe that proposed legislation will be in, if you're doubling your money in a 5-year period, that the profitability on that is phenomenal, and then you're paying capital gains, and then you're also getting taxed on that new alleged but proposed super luxury tax of profit, which is insane. Yeah. And that's why the benefit is, which again, you offer that white glove service, becoming that tax resident of
and setting
the UAE.
Up your business, setting up your business there, and then you've only got 9% tax.
Yeah, I can't wait.
So it's really worth considering relocating, and also the opportunities you're going to get by being there, because proximity is power.
Yeah.
So you're in just a bigger ecosystem.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. So,
and it is safe now, because like we talked about this. You said, "Have you been?" I said, "Yeah, I have been I've been twice." Holidays though, and many years ago, I think the last time would have been like 10 years ago. And I said to you, I know it would be a different Dubai. I wouldn't recognize it.
It's evolved so much. It's just incredible. And luxury too. Like if you're into luxury goods, they get bags that nowhere else in the world gets. Like that type of experience, the dining, the service. Also, you can have a maid, you can have a driver. If you've got the golden visa, you can sponsor your spouse. You can sponsor a driver. A lot of people have nannies. It's actually very affordable to have a chef and I have a driver over there.
Can't wait.
And it saves you so much time. It's just an amazing place to do business, but also just the lifestyle that it offers. So the unique projects actually offer a lot more wealth creation, but you've got to pay to play. So you're paying a lot more money. But Palm Jumeirah, for example, the man-made Palm, beautiful, the new Atlantis Royal, which was like 16 billion, but everyone has to go there and go to the spa. But that actually, there's a transaction on Front F that has generated 2,600% capital appreciation. That's 185% year on year. That's unheard of anywhere else. You're just not going to get that, But what we look for is gentrification, which is the renovation of an area. So we're looking for the areas that don't have the population growth yet, that have the employment opportunities and the tourism, the uniqueness, which you're not going to find on a property portal.
Yeah, yeah. At the end of the day. And also, because I know Adam's about to go over, we'll go over, so our goal is to come probably in December. Not goal, but we're like...
You have to come. We're
coming in December.
Baby.
Yes. I'm coming. So I said, we'll go in December, and I said, I want to assimilate. Like I said, we'll go in December and we will stay 3-4 weeks and we will pretend like we live there.
Feel the vibe
and get the feel of it all. And then I know on the call, Adam was like, we're coming, I'm bringing all the boys, and they're about to do a big investment, but they'll come and what I was going to say is obviously meet with you, walk through properties. People can do that. So that's what we have
showrooms, beautiful showrooms. So we're doing a lot of property tours, also virtual tours.
So that's what I want to say. If you can't physically go, we're going to come in December, hopefully. No, we will. But you can do online. That's what I want to say. I was like, there's such a, no matter, if you're listening to this, like I said, and you're like, fuck, this excites me, this scares me, because it's, again, it's not a normal conversation. For us, yes, sure, right? Different. But for most, it's not a normal conversation. They're not going to school drop-off and the mums there aren't being like, oh, have you thought about, investing in Dubai and creating wealth,
it's a
generational wealth.
Conversation. But what I love about this is that we are educating you on the mechanics of wealth creation through property. So you're actually learning. And once you also buy your first property, it's addictive. And then you're building out your portfolio and diversifying.
Yeah.
So it's actually what you're learning through the process.
And I love that. And I think the biggest thing that just landed for me then was, and this is what this podcast is all about, challenging the status quo. Like I always say.
You have to think outside the square.
I want to challenge the status quo. And a big thing for me, it's just so funny and iconic and ironic because I'd always said that I've always said property will come for me and it will be in my 40s. That's what I used to say all the time. I will build my property portfolio in my 40s, 37. And I'm like, I know. And I was like, careful what you speak into being. But I never said where.
There you go.
Right, I never said where. And now I'm like, wow, but how big picture thinking and powerful that we have the opportunity.
Yeah.
It's not about abandoning a country or evading tax. It's no, how beautiful and powerful and abundant that actually the world is our oyster and we can go and build wealth outside of our country.
Oh, it's just amazing. And also, I think there's like speed and there's golden window opportunities in life that you get.
Yeah.
And I think that Dubai is like that, you know, on this trajectory to 2040. And the fact that there's 200 nationalities, it's 85% expat. You know, I just feel like this is the best wealth creation strategy in the world right now. And more people, I'm just passionate about more people actually really being able to understand it. But you know what? It's a bigger picture thing. It's actually about like, what's your why behind creating financial freedom for yourself? Is it because you can look after a sick loved one? Is it more time with the people that you love? Is it because you want to actually, you know, really lean into philanthropy and contribution and you want to go serve in a foreign third world part in the world and create a charity? You know, it's about being able to live out your purpose and your why. And it's just having the education piece. You know, money is a powerful piece of that puzzle that allows you to do that. But the ultimate goal is actually fulfillment.
What is your why now? We'll end it here, but like, what is your why now? Because mine's freedom. Like, as you were talking then, I'm just like,
Freedom, yeah.
freedom. It's just freedom for me. What's yours?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I really think at the moment, I really want to build wealth creators and help as many people create freedom, financial freedom in their life and fulfillment. And I really just want other people to start living their best life.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, thank you from the bottom of my heart, Natalie. I so appreciate it. I just think the synchronicity and the synergy of from like watching you on the summit to then finding you on Instagram and DMing you and then you randomly putting your suitcase video. I'm so glad you posted that. Like you were like, I'm off to the Gold Coast. And I was like, you are coming to the studio.
I'm so glad you got me when I was in GC before I hit because I'm about to go to the US.
Yeah. Well, you go home?
Yeah, I go home.
You go to New Zealand?
Yeah, I've been invited to Breezy Bowl because we've got these amazing, we didn't get to touch on that, but amazing 1% best in the world, like artists and amazing connections, right? So going to the US and then fly to Dubai. So it's just amazing. But I just want other people to like realize that there's just a big world out there. There's over 8 billion people and just go after your dream.
That's it. I was going to be like, what's like the last thing you want? But that's it. The world is a big place. The world is our oyster and there's 8 billion people and we just have to stop. I'm speaking for myself. I know that the power in the last couple of even weeks for me, just opening myself up to the pillar of possibility that like the world is bigger than Australia and like wealth can be built in different ways. And what does that look like, feel like, sound like? And then I met Wealth Creator. What is it?
Wealthcreator.ae.
Yeah, I was like, and then I met wealthcreator.ae.
And Natalie Williams.coach on Instagram. But you know what? Be gritty. Be ballsy. Be relentless.
Go for it. Be a baddie.
Be a baddie.
Be a baddie. All right, we'll wrap it up. And as always, I say at the end of every single podcast because it is my catchphrase and I have it tattooed on me, but stay wild. Thanks so much for listening to another episode of Anything Goes. And if today's episode gave you maybe a new perspective, a little bit of a laugh, you learned something new, or just loved our trip to Taboo Town if we went there, it would honestly mean the world to me if you could leave me some love with writing a review and sharing this episode to your socials. You have no idea how much that helps my little podcast get out in the world. If you love what you gain from these conversations weekly with me as well and want more than just listening in, come and join my inner circle. It's my monthly mastermind where for just $47 a month, the real magic happens. You get me up close, no filter, live coaching. And if you get what you get from this free podcast, imagine what you get in a paid container. Links are in the show notes, friends. And until next time, stay wild.